Tom was a human explorer. He worked alone and traveled across many star systems in his small ship. He helped with small jobs, repairing mining bots, clearing tunnels, and guiding lost travelers. He did not care about power or war. He just liked helping people and exploring new places. One day, Tom received a signal from a moon in the outer ring. It was a weak signal. It said, "Help! Tunnel collapse. Life trapped." Tom was nearby, so he changed course and flew to the moon without delay. Moon was dry and filled with sharp black rocks. A mining crew had been digging deep tunnels under the surface. Tom landed near the site and saw broken machines and large pieces of rock covering the ground. He scanned the area and found a weak life sign under the rubble. Without waiting, Tom grabbed his tools and started clearing the rocks by hand. The ground was unstable. Dust filled the air. He kept digging carefully, and after 2 hours, he found a small alien child trapped under a bent metal beam. The child was not hurt badly, but she could not move. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes were large and shining. Tom gently lifted the beam and pulled her out. She looked scared at first, but soon calmed down when she saw Tom's face. "You are safe now," Tom said kindly. She nodded. "You are human." "Yes, I am Tom." "I am Luma," she said in a soft voice. Tom gave her water and wrapped her in a warm blanket. Soon, a large ship came down from the sky. It was shaped like a silver wing and moved without sound. Many guards stepped out. They wore shining armor and carried staff weapons. The guards looked at Tom but did not point their weapons. Instead, they bowed toward the child. Tom was confused. One of the guards spoke. "You saved her. Do you know who she is?" "No," Tom said. "She's the daughter of Empress Varela of the Zirathi Empire." Tom blinked. He had heard about the Zirathi. They ruled hundreds of worlds and had strong fleets. He did not expect to meet royalty, and he did not want any trouble. A voice came from the ship's speaker. "Bring the human aboard." Tom hesitated, but the girl looked at him and said, "Please come with me. My mother will want to thank you." Tom nodded slowly. He followed her onto the royal ship. Inside, the halls were made of silver and glass. Strange lights floated in the air. The guards led him to a round chamber with soft music and a glowing table in the center. Then, Empress walked in. She was tall and graceful. Her hair floated like silk, and her eyes were deep blue like the stars. She looked calm but strong. She looked at Tom, then at her daughter. "Luma," she said with care, "you are safe." "Yes, mother. He saved me." The Empress turned to Tom. "I thank you, human. You did something no one else dared. You came with no army, no fear, no demand." Tom bowed slightly. "I only did what anyone should do." "No," the Empress said. "Many passed the signal. You answered." Luma stepped forward and stood between them. She looked up at her mother, then at Tom. "Mother, I want to say something." "Speak, child." Luma looked at Tom with hope in her eyes. Her voice was clear and honest. "Human, my mother needs a partner, and I want a father. Please marry her and help lead the galaxy." The room went quiet. Tom stood frozen. He could not speak. Even the Empress looked surprised. "Luma, what are you saying?" "I want him to stay. He is brave. He is kind. He thinks with care, not with war. We need someone like him." The guards looked confused. The Empress looked thoughtful. Tom tried to find words. "I did not come here for this," he said. "I know," Luma said. "But maybe this is why you were brought." The Empress raised her hand. "Enough for now. Take Luma to her room." Luma looked at Tom one last time and smiled before leaving. The Empress sat across from Tom. She studied him. "You saved her. For that, I am grateful. But what my daughter said, that was not planned." "I understand," Tom said. "She is just a child." "She is a child, but she is also the future of my people. And children often speak what others fear to say." Tom stayed silent. "You are not like most humans we meet," the Empress said. "You listen. You act without pride. That is rare." "I only did what felt right." She nodded. "You may stay aboard for a time, rest, speak with our people, learn, then decide if you wish to be part of something greater." Tom agreed. He did not know what would happen next, but something had begun. One act of kindness had pulled him into the center of a galaxy ruled by alien hands. And a child's wish had opened a door he never thought would exist. He looked out the window of the great ship as it flew into the stars. He had no idea where this new path would lead, but he was ready to walk it. Tom stayed on the royal ship. He was given a quiet room with soft lights and smooth walls that changed color when he touched them. The bed felt like air. The food came in colorful trays, full of strange shapes and sweet smells. He tried new things, one bite at a time. Some made him smile, some made him cough. But he was not there for the food. The ship was large like a city, filled with alien workers, guards, and leaders. Some looked at him with interest. Some looked with doubt. No human had ever walked freely on a Zirithi royal ship before. Tom walked the halls alone. He watched the people. He listened to their speech and asked quiet questions. Most were surprised by how kind he was. Some asked why he had risked his life for a stranger. He always gave the same answer: because the child needed help. On the third day, a small guard came to his room. "The Empress wishes to speak with you." Tom followed him to a garden chamber. It was bright and filled with blue trees. The walls showed stars outside, and light birds flew between branches. In the center sat Empress Varela. She wore a white robe and silver bands on her arms. She turned as he walked in. "Tom, please sit." He sat across from her on a round bench made of warm stone. For a moment, they said nothing. Then the Empress spoke. "My daughter still talks about you. She asks where you are. She draws pictures of the three of us. She made one where we sit on the throne together." Tom smiled. "She has strong dreams." "She does. She is also wise beyond her years." They looked at the stars for a while. The Empress broke the silence again. "Why did you really come to help her?" Tom thought before speaking. "I was nearby. I heard the signal. I acted because no one else did. That's all." The Empress nodded slowly. "And what do you think of my people? They are powerful, but they carry sadness. I see it in their faces. I think your people miss something." "What do they miss?" "Hope." The Empress raised her eyes. "You speak like someone who has seen war." "I have," Tom said. "Not big ones, small ones. Enough to know how people break, enough to know how they heal." The Empress stood and walked toward a round fountain. The water made soft sounds as it moved in circles. "We lost my partner 4 cycles ago. He was brave, but he believed in force more than peace. His death broke many things inside this empire, and it left Luma without a father." Tom walked too. The fountain beside her. "She told me she wants one." "I know. And she does not ask from greed. She asks from the heart." Tom looked at the water. "She asked me to marry you." The Empress gave a soft laugh. "Yes, she has no fear. Do you think her idea is strange? I think it is bold. And I think boldness can bring change." Tom looked at her. "You don't know me. I watched your steps since the day you arrived. You walk with care. You speak with honesty. You are not a man who seeks a crown. That is why I listen." Tom stayed quiet. The birds above them sang low tunes that echoed like wind. She turned to face him. "I will not ask you to marry me. That is not my way. But I will ask you this. Will you stay longer? Will you meet the council? Will you see the heart of our people?" Tom nodded. "I will." That evening, Luma came running to him in the hall. She wore a dress with stars on it. "You met Mother again?" "Yes." "Did she smile?" "She did." Then we are close, Luma said with joy. Close to what? To making you stay forever, Tom laughed. I said I would stay a little longer. That is a start. Luma took his hand and said, I want to show you something. She led him to a small room full of light. Inside were drawings, stars, and small stone toys. It was her playroom. In the center was a tall picture made by hand. It showed 3 figures, one tall like the Empress, one like Tom, and one like Luma between them. This is my family, she said. Tom looked at it and felt something deep in his chest. He had never thought of family in this way before. He had no wife, no children, only missions and stars. Now a small alien girl was asking him to be part of something more. You are a dreamer. Luma, Tom said. Dreams are strong, she replied. Stayed with her for a while. They built toy towers. They told stories. And when she started to sleep, Tom covered her with a blanket and walked back to his room. As he walked the halls, he passed 2 guards. That is the human? Yes, the one the Empress allows near. He may change things. Tom heard them, but kept walking. That night, he sat in his room and looked at the stars. He thought of what he had seen: power, fear, pain, but also hope, laughter, and a strange kind of love from a child who believed a stranger could become her father. Tom was just a man with a ship. But maybe he had been brought here for a reason. Maybe the galaxy needed something more than fleets and fire. Maybe it needed someone who still believed in simple good. Tom woke early. A soft light came from the walls of his room, changing from blue to golden as the ship moved toward a new star system. He sat up and stretched. His mind was clear, but his heart was heavy with thoughts from the past days. He dressed in the simple clothes given by the Zirathi. They fit well and felt like smooth silk. As he stepped into the hallway, he saw the ship's crew walking with more speed than usual. Their faces looked tense. No one stopped to talk. A young guard saw Tom and came closer. You must come with me. The Empress is in the war chamber. Tom followed him through long halls, past glowing doors and silent watchers. When they entered the chamber, Tom saw a round table with a moving map in the middle. Stars blinked across its surface. Ships moved as small lights. Around the table stood several alien commanders, dressed in dark armor. The Empress stood among them, her hands behind her back. She turned when Tom entered. You are just in time, she said. Tom looked at the map. One planet blinked red. What happened? An outpost near the edge of our space was attacked. She said, no warning, no message, 10 ships gone. Many workers lost. Tom stepped closer. Who did it? The Empress touched the map. A symbol appeared. 3 sharp lines in a triangle. The Karnak clans, she said. A broken group that refuses peace. They live on old war codes. They want control through fear. Tom nodded. He had heard the name before. The Karnak were known in quiet corners of space. Small ships, sudden strikes, always escaping before they could be caught. A commander spoke. They wait for weakness. This was a test. The Empress looked at Tom. They know we have no strong partner beside the throne. They see that as weakness. Tom stayed silent. He was not a soldier of the Empire, but he understood what the attack meant. They may strike again soon. Another commander said. We must strike first, said a second. No, said the Empress. We will protect, not provoke. Tom spoke. How did they get past your sensors? A pause. Then a tall leader answered. They use dark space paths, unknown routes between stars. We cannot track them unless we understand their patterns. Tom walked around the map. His eyes followed the lines. May I study these paths? He asked. The Empress gave a small smile. You are not part of our fleet. No, but I think like a scout. If I can see what they avoid, I may find what they use. She nodded. Then do so. For the next hours, Tom sat with the map. He marked safe zones. He marked blind spots. He found a small path, often empty, often ignored. He pointed to it. This is where they passed. The Empress leaned forward. Why? Because no one watches that path, and it gives a clear way to the outpost. A commander asked, should we send scouts? Tom shook his head. Too slow. If I take one ship and fly low, I can scan the trail, maybe find one of their listening posts. The Empress looked at him. You would take that risk? Yes. Alone? No, with one Zirathi who knows the stars better than I do. The Empress raised her hand. A name was called. A tall woman in a scout's uniform entered. Her name was Sira. She was fast, calm, and trusted by the Empress. I will go with him, she said. Tom and Sira left the same night. The ship was small, quick, and silent. They flew without light, passing through shadows of forgotten stars. As they reached the path Tom had marked, Sira began scanning. This space feels empty, she said. Tom checked the readings. It's not. A soft signal buzzed in the corner of the screen. There, he said. A rock in the distance gave off a pulse, too perfect to be natural. They flew closer and found a small device hidden behind the rock's curve. A signal booster, Sira said. They are watching this route. Tom looked around. And if they are watching, they are near, Sira nodded. She tapped a code into the scanner. A dark ship appeared on the screen. Behind the moon, she said. Tom thought fast. Let's bait them. He turned on the ship's lights. The enemy ship moved. It chased them through the rocks. Tom led it into a narrow path. As they turned hard between sharp stones, Sira dropped a tracking pod. The enemy fired once, then left the chase. We made them run, Sira said. And now we know where they go, Tom replied. They returned to the royal ship with the data. The Empress stood waiting. You did well, she said. Tom showed the path, the device, and the chase. The commanders listened. One said, we can use this to track their base. Another said, we can plan our defense now. Tom stepped back. This is your war. I only helped with one piece. The Empress looked at him. Your one piece may save many lives, she said. That night, Luma found him in the garden. She ran to him with joy. I heard you found the bad ship. We found a path. Others will do the hard part now. She sat beside him on the bench. You don't like war, she said. Double quotes. No, I don't. Then why did you go? To stop more fighting. Luma looked at the stars. That's why I want you to stay. Tom looked at her. Your mother is strong. Your people are strong. Why me? Because you are different. You fix without breaking. Tom had no answer, but he knew one thing. He was no longer just a visitor. He was part of something bigger now, and the galaxy had noticed. The halls of the royal ship were quiet the next morning. Yet something was changing. Word had spread fast. The human had helped track the enemy. He had flown into danger. He had come back with answers the commanders could not find. Tom was now more than just a guest. The Empress called a meeting in the council chamber, a high room with clear walls showing the stars all around. There were 12 seats in a circle. Each seat was taken by a noble, elder, or commander of the Zirathi Empire. They were the voice of different star systems. They advised the Empress. They also argued often. Tom was invited as a speaker. He stood in the center of the circle. The Empress sat behind him on a high platform. Her eyes were calm, but watching closely. One elder, with silver marks on his face, stood first. Why is a human standing here? He asked. He is not of our world. He is not of our race. Another, wearing a long red robe, spoke next. He has helped us once, yes, but help does not mean power. Tom stayed quiet. He looked at each speaker. Then he spoke, not with force, but with steady words. I came because a child needed help. I stayed because I saw you need more than weapons. You need trust between people. Some council members leaned forward. Some looked away. I do not want a crown, Tom said. I want peace to last. I want Luma to grow up in a galaxy that listens instead of fights. That is all. The room went still. One commander stood. His name was Veeler. He had fought in many wars. Words are soft. But the galaxy is not. What would you do if the Karnak attack again? Tom answered. I would stand with those who protect. I would speak with those who may still change. I would fight only when no other path remains. Veeler stared at him, then gave a slow nod. Another noble, a quiet woman with green eyes, asked, And what of our Empress? Do you seek her hand to gain power? Tom looked at the Empress, then turned back to the council. I did not come for that. But I will not lie. I care for her. I respect her. And if she ever chose me, I would stand by her side with honor, not for rule, but for duty. Whispers moved across the chamber. The Empress stood. She stepped forward and spoke with a clear voice. Your questions are fair. Your doubts are not foolish. But know this, I do not keep him here because he is human. I keep him because he brings a voice we have not heard in a long time. She paused, then added, one of reason, one of peace, one that my daughter saw before all of us. Luma was also watching from the side room. She smiled wide. Her small hands clapped once before a guard gently reminded her to stay quiet. After the meeting, Tom walked through the hall. People bowed slightly to him. Some still looked unsure, but many now looked with respect. Later that evening, the Empress called him to the upper gardens. The stars were bright. A soft wind passed through the glowing trees. You spoke well today, she said. I only spoke what I felt. She turned to him. The council now sees you as more than a stranger. That matters. Tom looked at her. Does it matter to you? She walked slowly, her hands behind her back. It does, she said. I have led this empire through storm and silence. I have lost sleep, friends, and time with my daughter. I have not trusted many beside me. She stopped walking. But you make me pause. You make me listen. That is rare. Tom stepped closer. I do not know the ways of your world, he said, but I know you carry a heavy crown. If I can help carry it, I will. She looked at him. Her eyes held no fear, only thought. There will be another council soon. One that decides how we face the Karnak. If you stand with me there, it will send a message. Not of weakness, but of something new. I will stand with you, Tom said. The Empress nodded. Then let it begin. That night, Tom sat in his room and thought of everything. The ship, the Empress, the council, and Luma, who had started it all with her bold request. He knew he could walk away. No one would stop him, but something had taken root. He no longer felt like a traveler passing by. He felt part of this strange, beautiful wounded galaxy. And it was worth staying for. The stars around the royal ship were calm, but inside the command hall, the mood had changed. A message had come from the planet Varnes, one of the Zirithi's peaceful trade worlds. The Karnak clans had launched a sudden attack. They had landed. With warships and burning skies, the Emperor stood tall in front of the map. Flames blinked on the surface of Varnes. Villages were falling. People were running. The Karnak want fear, she said. They want the Empire to kneel. Commander Veeler stepped forward. Let me lead the fleet. I will burn their ships. I will crush their leaders. No, said the Empress. We will strike with care, not rage. She looked at Tom. You found their paths. You understand their tricks. Will you lead a mission? Tom nodded without delay. Yes, I will go. Luma heard his answer. She ran up to him in the hall before he left. Will you come back? She asked. Tom bent down. I promise I will try my best. She held something small in her hand. a round stone with her name carved into it. "Keep this," she said, "so you don't forget who is waiting." Tom smiled and put the stone in his pocket. The ship chosen for the mission was fast and quiet. A special team joined him. Commander Sira, 2 skilled pilots, and 4 shadow guards. Their task was not to fight in the open. They were to sneak behind the enemy lines and destroy the Karnak command ship that led the attack. If that ship fell, the other Karnak forces would break. Without orders, they would scatter. Tom and the team flew low into the Varney sky. Fire and smoke rose from the ground. The Karnak ships hovered like black teeth above the fields. The team moved through rocky clouds and landed near a mountain cave. From there, they used hidden paths to reach the base of the enemy command post. Inside the cave, Sira gave each member a signal tag. "We go in together. We leave together," she said. Tom checked his tools. He had no heavy weapon, only a small blaster, a scanner, and a calm mind. They moved in silence. Step by step, they reached a back gate near the Karnak command tower. A guard stood outside. One shadow guard moved quick and silent, knocking him out without a sound. They entered the tower. Red lights filled the halls. The smell of metal and smoke was strong. Inside the control room, the Karnak captain was shouting orders. "Burn the South Hills. Push the farmers to the north. Take what you can." Tom whispered to Sira, "We hit the power core. That will stop the whole ship." Sira nodded. They moved down to the lower deck. There, in a steel room, stood the power source. Blue energy moved through tubes like lightning. Tom placed the charges on the wall. They had 5 minutes before the ship would break apart. But then a door opened. A Karnak warrior walked in. He saw Tom and raised his weapon. The first shot missed. The second hit Tom's arm. Sira pulled him back and fired. The enemy fell. The team grabbed Tom and ran. Sirens began to scream. Red lights flashed. The whole base shook as the countdown ticked. They reached the outside. The wind blew hot from nearby fires. They jumped into a transport and flew fast across the sky. The command ship behind them exploded in a bright wave. The blast threw light across the clouds. Karnak fighters turned and fled. Without their leader, they lost control. The battle below began to end. Tom sat inside the ship, holding his arm. Blood ran down, but he was awake. "You did it," Sira said. "We all did it," Tom replied. They returned to the royal ship. He was taken to the healer's chamber. The room was warm. The lights were soft. A tall healer wrapped his wound and gave him water. "You will rest now," the healer said. Tom closed his eyes. Later, he woke to the sound of footsteps. The Empress entered, quiet and calm. She sat beside him. Her eyes held a soft shine. "You could have died," she said. "But I didn't," he replied. She touched his hand. "You saved Varnes. You saved many lives. I did what I could." She looked at him for a long moment. "When you first arrived, I thought you were just a traveler. Now I see you are something more." Tom asked, "What do you see?" "A man with a heart strong enough to hold the people. A man who did not come to rule, but who chose to lead when it was needed." Tom looked into her eyes. "I never planned any of this." "Nor did I," she said. The door opened again. Luma ran in, holding a small flower made of silver thread. She jumped on the bed and hugged him. "You came back," she said. "I promised I would." She placed the flower beside his hand. "Now, you must rest, but when you wake, we will have much to plan." Tom looked at the Empress, then at Luma. "I think I'm ready," he said. 2 weeks had passed since the battle on Varnes. The fires had ended. The people were rebuilding. The Karnak clans had pulled back into the far edge of space. The royal ship had returned to the capital world of the Zirithi Empire, a shining planet called Elion. Elion had skies of gold and oceans that glowed in the dark. The royal palace floated above the clouds. Tall towers reached toward the stars. It was a place of beauty, peace, and power. Tom stood on the palace balcony. He wore a long robe made by the royal weavers. It was dark blue with silver lines that showed the stars of every world he had helped protect. Behind him, the royal halls were full of movement. Workers set lights. Guards stood in shining armor. Music was being practiced in soft tones. Something big was about to happen. The Empress had made her choice. She would not rule alone anymore, and she would not let the human walk away. That morning, the Empress had called a new council. The same leaders who once doubted Tom now stood in silence as she spoke. "Our empire has seen dark days," she said. "But it is light that brings us forward. This man has brought that light." Tom stood beside her. His arm had healed. His eyes were steady. His voice was clear when he spoke. "I did not come here for power. I came because someone asked for help. I stayed because I saw hope. Now I stand here because I believe in something better than fear. I believe in this empire." The hall was silent for a moment. Then one by one, the council members placed their hands on their hearts. It was a sign of trust. Luma sat at the front. She could barely stay still. Her smile was wide. Her hands held a small book where she had drawn her dream family months ago. Now that dream was becoming real. The Empress turned to Tom later that day in the garden. She wore a gown made of silver threads. Her hair was held by a simple crown with a single blue stone in the middle. "There is a custom," she said. "One that joins not just people, but worlds." Tom nodded. "I've heard of it. A ceremony of two leaders. Will you share it with me?" she asked. "I will," Tom said. The ceremony was held the next day on the highest tower of the palace. The sky was clear. Light winds moved across the platform. Leaders, soldiers, workers, and even children stood below watching on giant screens. Across the galaxy, other systems also watched. Two paths were laid from each side of the tower. One path was made of white stones from Earth. The other was made of glowing crystals from Elion. At the center, the paths met. Tom walked the stone path. The Empress walked the crystal one. They stopped in the middle and faced each other. A voice spoke from above. It was the royal speaker. "Two paths meet. One from the stars, one from the soil. They joined today not by force, but by choice." Tom took a golden ring from a small box. It had no jewels, only the shape of a circle with no end. He placed it in the Empress's hand. "I do not offer rule. I offer my hand, my mind, and my heart." The Empress placed a silver band on Tom's hand. It held a single star carved in its center. "I accept not for power, but for peace. Not for show, but for hope." They touched hands. Lights rose from the floor and formed a circle around them. Below, cheers broke across the city. Luma ran to the stage and hugged them both. A soft laugh rose from the crowd. Even the Empress laughed, a rare sound but full of joy. That night, a feast was held in the palace. Tables of fruit, drinks, and sweet dishes from many worlds filled the great hall. Music played from both human and Zirathi styles. People danced. Children played. Tom walked through the hall, speaking with leaders from different planets. Some asked how he came to be here. Some thanked him for saving their homes. He answered each one with care. Luma sat with other children and told stories of the time she had saved the galaxy by finding the perfect father. The Empress stood beside Tom. As the night grew calm, "Today something changed," she said. "Yes," Tom replied. "And it feels right." She looked at him. "You were never a stranger, not to me. From the first moment, you made me feel something I had forgotten." "What was that?" "Hope," she said. Tom held her hand. "Then let's build a future." From it, they stepped outside onto the balcony. Above them, stars filled the sky. Ships moved in slow lines across the space lanes. Peace had come not by force, but by courage, kindness, and the voice of a child who had believed in something better. The Empress now no longer alone, stood beside the human who had become more than a guest. Tom, no longer a traveler, now had a place, a purpose, and a family. And the galaxy, once full of fear, now looked toward a new future. Months passed since the ceremony. Tom no longer felt like a visitor. He had become part of the Zirathi Empire's heart. He walked through the halls of the royal palace not as a guest, but as a partner to the Empress. People greeted him with respect, and children smiled when they saw him. Luma grew quickly. She was no longer the small, frightened child trapped in the tunnel. She was strong, curious, and full of dreams. She followed Tom like a shadow, asking questions about humans, stars, and the future. One day, Tom sat with the council. The leaders of many worlds came together to plan new laws for the Empire. For the first time, humans had a voice at the table. Tom listened carefully to every word, then spoke with calm wisdom. Peace must be more than a pause between wars. He said, it must be a choice we make every day. We must teach our children to understand, to respect, and to protect. Only then will the galaxy be safe. The council nodded. Some smiled, others looked thoughtful. The Empress watched Tom with pride. Outside, the galaxy was changing. Small battles still flared in distant systems, but the Empire's new strength was in its unity. Humans and Zirathi worked together on projects to bring clean water, medicine, and schools to many planets. Tom helped lead these efforts. His ideas were simple but powerful. Listen first, then act. Luma became a symbol of this new era. She traveled with the Empress and Tom, meeting children from many worlds. She told them stories of hope and bravery. She spoke about the power of kindness and the strength found in family. One night, Tom stood with the Empress on the balcony. The stars above were bright and clear. Ships flew softly in the distance, carrying travelers, traders, and explorers. Do you ever miss your old life? The Empress asked. Tom looked at the stars. Sometimes, but this life is better. I have a family now, a purpose, a home. She smiled. You have given us hope. You have helped us see what we lost. Tom took her hand. We will keep building this future, together. Luma came running out with a small flower in her hand. Look, it blooms even in the dark. Tom knelt and took the flower. Just like hope, he said. The Empress joined them, and they stood together, looking out at the galaxy they loved. In the end, a child's simple wish had changed the fate of millions. A human had come to an alien world and found a family. The Empire had found a new way forward, led not by fear or war, but by courage, kindness, and trust. And the stars shone a little brighter for it.